This instructional video is going to show you how to enter grades or scores into your gradebook. So we're going to go ahead and go into your gradebook. It'll automatically default to your gradebook grid. And there are two ways that you can enter grades. If you're doing just standard percentage-based grading, you're going to have your list of numbers here. You're going to just enter the score that the student got here and enter that in. If you want to change that grade, you're going to click it again and then you can change it. If for some whatever reason that all the students got the same grade, you can enter that grade in the top score, move the cursor to the next one down, hold the shift key down, and then press the asterisk, and it will automatically populate all students with that score. That is a quick way to add everybody's scores, assuming they are all the same. I'm going to delete that score. If you are doing proficiency-based grading, you're going to want to add it not in the assignment column, but you click on this little plus sign, and if you don't have any objectives listed, there will be no plus sign. And if you open that up, there will be a shaded area and indicating that these are the proficiencies or the objectives that are being addressed with this assignment. Normally, you're probably only going to have one objective with one assessment, but there's going to be times when you're going to have multiple, so I went ahead and added two. You do not want to add the score here. Instead, you are evaluating how well the students are doing on specific objectives. So you would open up the window, display these two columns, and then enter the scores independently here. If you wanted to change the score, you click on it and change the score. Note that when you enter the scores in the objectives columns, the overall score is averaged of those two. Now this is important because when you are looking at how well the students are doing on those objectives, you would switch to this objectives view, and it lists all the objectives, and then you can scroll over and just hover over this individual score, and it will give you a bar graph indicating how well that student has done on that objective along the way. And you can just go ahead and just look at every individual student's data that way. I'm going to go back to the grades. An alternative way to enter assignment scores, not objective scores, but assignment scores, is to go into quick grades. One advantage of using quick grades is that you can add comments. So let's say this student got a 4 on this. You can add a comment that says, worked with Sally. Now, note that any comments that you put on here are going to be visible in the internet viewer, so these need to be professional comments related to the work. Your other option is that you can choose from this pull-down menu. If you just put EX in this example, or if you're doing percentage-based grading, A, B, C, it's going to automatically put the score that relates to that letter code. You see that there are two additional letter codes here. There's an X and a Z, and this is available for both grading styles, whether it's rubric grading or percentage grading. An X means that this is exempt from total. That score is not going to impact the student's overall grade. A Z is a 0. This is an indicator that the student is going to earn a 0 on this assignment, and it will have a negative impact on the overall score for that student. You see that the colors are changing when I enter a score, and it turns yellow briefly. Yellow is the saving process. If there is ever a time when the yellow does not fade back to clear, you need to stop and come back later. The reason that might happen would be that you are not having any connectivity with the internet. It does save automatically. You don't need to be saving as you're going along. It saves every action that you do. But if for some odd reason it stays yellow, that means that you need to stop what you're doing because you're not saving it, and it's just going to cause you a lot of heartache later. Let's go ahead and return back to the gradebook grade. I want you to see that you can also enter an X and a Z here, and it does the same thing. Also, I want to show you that there's a little red ear that shows up in the corner here, a little mark. If you hover over that, it'll tell you what the message is, the comment is that you added to that. You don't have to go into the quick grades to see that comment, but you can see that there is a comment and what that comment is right from your gradebook grid. This is an example of how you would enter grades and how you would use quick grades, the gradebook grid, and the exempt and zero functions.